Hey everybody, Adam here. I want to take an opportunity to film a quick video on the easy and pain-free way that I've discovered to stretch your ears. A little backstory, I had my ears pierced for the first time about 7 months ago. So at 35 years old, I decided it was time to get my ears pierced and to gauge them. So I made some mistakes during that process, and I wanted to hopefully prevent other people from making some mistakes as well, to keep your ears healthy and keep you happy through the stretching process, because it can be fun, it can be pain-free, and it can be very enjoyable all the way through. Mistakes I made was rushing pretty much across the board. I got my ears pierced, and then 8 weeks later I was back at the piercing studio getting stretched from 16 gauge to 10 gauge, and it was extremely painful, and my ears reacted very badly. So I was having lots of swelling, significant bleeding, and it was not very pleasant. So I was questioning whether or not I was going to continue doing the stretching at that point, because it was so traumatic for my ears, and pretty traumatic for me trying to go to sleep that night, because my ears were very, very irritated. So the next stretch, when I went from 10 gauge to 8 gauge, I did that one myself, and also did not go well. I used a straight stainless steel taper and crammed that thing through my ear, and again with the bad reaction from my ear, lots of swelling. So for the next stretch, I decided to do things a little differently and did an experiment using a spiral taper. And the idea was that I could just leave it in my ear for a long period of time. The process took about an hour and a half, and to hopefully prevent my ear from freaking out. So what I discovered is that the swelling and the bleeding were, especially the swelling, was a reaction from my body to pain. So if we can prevent the trauma in our ear, then we can prevent the swelling and we can prevent the bad reactions. So doing it this way is pain-free. It is really easy, and makes for a really pleasant stretch. So today's stretch, I'm going from 4 gauge to 2 gauge. So I'm going to be doing that using these 2 gauge spiral tapers. Now, it has been right about 1 month since I stretched to the 4 gauge, and it was a super easy stretch from 6 gauge to 4 gauge. And about 2 weeks after that stretch, I started sitting on the couch, just pull on these a little bit, just grab them, give them a little tug, give them a little twist, and just sat doing that for a few minutes. Not enough to cause pain, but enough to stretch my earlobe a bit. And I believe that helps a lot with the tapering process, because my ears are already a bit stretchy. So since I've started doing it this way, I've had no issues with my ears. I get no swelling. I get no kind of trauma, no bleeding, no itching. It's just been super simple and super enjoyable. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to pop out my 4 gauge plugs here. So there's my holes. Very happy, no swelling, no issues. So for my stretching lubricant, I'm using very simple coconut oil. There are plenty of stretching lubricants on the market. We keep this in the house for cooking, for cosmetic products, for skincare products and everything. It's super healing, it's super simple, and it's all natural. So I prefer to use all natural stuff. So I'm going to take a little bit of that, lubricate my tapers. These are just, I bought this pack of tapers on Amazon. It was $10 for sizes from 10 gauge up to 00. So for the metric people out there, these are 6mm, and the size I was at is 5mm. So in gauges, that's 4 gauge and 2 gauge. So then I'm gonna take some of this coconut oil, lubricate my lobes. Happy times. I'm just gonna slip this taper in here. I'm doing it this way just so you can see a little bit better. Typically when I do this, I do it from the back side. Because I do that just because when I'm putting my jewelry in, I always put it in from this side. So when I'm doing my stretch, I like to go from the back side just to make sure that my holes stay even. And that may or may not actually do anything, but it just seemed like a good idea at the time. So I'm gonna pop it back out so you can just kind of see how far I'm putting it in there. So just go until I start feeling a little bit of resistance. Right there, then I stop. Same on this one. I'm actually going on the back side from this one because you can't really see that anyways because of the shadow. Just go until I feel a little bit of resistance. And I stop. So I'm gonna let those sit there for about 20 minutes. Let my lobes relax around that slightly bigger size. And then I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, so we're back, and about 20 minutes later, and I'm ready to push my spiral taper in a little bit farther. And this is the process. I let my ears relax, push a little farther. Again, I'm not pushing to where I feel any kind of pain. I get slight resistance, and then I stop. So a little resistance. Now, if you're having problems with the tapers trying to kick back out, I use just a small O-ring that is similar to the size of this taper, slightly smaller than the final size of the taper, and I just shove that on there, and then it holds the taper in place so it doesn't try to kick itself back out. This one's going really easy, so I'm not having to use the O-rings. So that's a little farther, and so I'm going to wait a few minutes, and then I'll come back, and I'm going to skip over every single step of this. I'll come back in a few when I'm totally at the final size. All right, so we are back, and I've got my spiral taper into the final size, and this was a super easy stretch. My ears were very happy with this one. No issues at all. So this was a pretty fast stretch. Did the whole process in about an hour, and again with no pain, no resistance, no swelling. You can see how happy my ears are. I can just pull on them, no issues, no pain. So I've done this process. This is now the third stretch this way, and I've had 0 issues stretching this way. So I'm very happy doing it this way. There's a finite size that you can go to because they don't make spiral tapers up to very huge sizes. My final goal size is 00 or 10mm. So I have 2 more stretches to go, and I have spiral tapers to get me to that size. So beyond that, there are other methods of slow stretching that are a little bit more complicated than this. This is just super easy. So I wanted to share this very easy, very pain-free way of stretching your ears. So then when I'm done with this, pop that right out of my ear. Be my nice, happy, healthy earlobe. Same thing with my plugs. These are actually homemade plugs, and I'll probably do a video on how to make those because I don't tend to like the lengths of plugs. They're either too short, they're too long. I don't like sleeping and having them poke into my head. So I actually make these myself. So I'll do a video on that. So just get that lubricated up. Pop it right in. Boom. How easy that is. No issues putting it in. So I'll pop this one back out. And no pain, which is a lot more fun than having my ear spewing blood. So, jewelry in, rock and roll. Got my O-rings that I will put on off video. You guys don't need to watch that. And I'll tell you, for as far as the care of these, I pull them out every single shower and wash my lobes, wash the jewelry. That way I don't get any of the dreaded ear cheese, ear funkies, gross smelly stuff. My lobes don't smell. They're super healthy. And every time I put my jewelry in, I use coconut oil on them. And again, my lobes are super healthy. No issues, no scar tissue. And it's just been a really great way to stretch. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has been, go ahead and click the subscribe button down there, and I'll keep the videos coming. And hopefully we can go on this fun journey of stretching together. And for my next stretch, I'll go ahead and do a video of that. That's going to be from 2 gauge to 0 gauge. And that's a little different because this was a 1 millimeter stretch, and that next stretch is going to be a 2 millimeter stretch. So it will be an interesting experiment to see how my lobes react using this method, going with a stretch that's twice as big. So it'll be cool, and thanks for watching. See you later.